Oh, hey there, Bruzernation. Do you ever wonder how you, yes, you, can start your podcast? Well then, do I have the perfect place to start? My go-to for podcast hosting, and that's Anchor by Spotify. The absolute easiest way to make a podcast. No, I'm not being facetious. With Anchor by Spotify, everything you need to start your podcast is all in one place. No recording equipment, no worries. With Anchor, you can record right to your phone or computer. No editing software? Well, Anchor.fm has that right there for you as well. Just as important as your voice, Anchor by Spotify distributes your podcast to all the major podcasting platforms, so hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of listeners can hear your voice and story. Plus, Anchor is the exclusive place to post videos of your podcasts on Spotify. I almost forgot. Anchor by Spotify helps creators like you earn money through not just advertisements, but by subscription services for your most loyal of listeners. Now you're wondering, how much is all this going to cost me? That right there, Bruzernation, is the good news. It's free. That's right, zip, zilch, nada. So go ahead and visit Anchor.fm to get started. After you've listened to this podcast, of course. That's Anchor.fm to start your podcast today.
So you can talk about the new era, but it doesn't matter to me because I know what you really want. And I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you what you crave right now. Tonight, I give you the gift of Jericho. Drink it in, man.
His friend Triple H.
What'd you say?
His friend Triple H.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Bruzernation members of all ages. Does everybody know what time it is?
It's Bruze Cruze time!
Oh, hey there, Bruzer Nation. Raise those anchors and get ready to take a ride on the Bruze Cruze. This week on this excursion, wow, I haven't said that for a while, you can tell, because I messed that all up. The Bruze Cruze Podcast is taking you all the way back to 2019, where we're gonna be going over, watching, and freaking out over Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley 1 from, oh my god, what was it, All Out? All Out 19? So we're going to go ahead and get started. Justin Roberts is already in the ring. The wrestlers are being introduced as we speak. Full Gear 19, my bad, All Out. What the fuck was I talking about? The first wrestler to come out, Kenny Omega. One of the few times, because like I've talked about on To the Turnbuckle and on this podcast here, I love Kenny Omega. What's not to like about Kenny Omega? He goes full board, 100% in the ring all the time. He's got that strong style, and oh my god, he looks so much older in 4 years' time. He still looks young as shit. And me and Kenny are like the same age. There might be like a year difference either way. But he looks young as shit right now. And this is not even a full 4 years ago. JR's on commentary. That's always nice to hear. Kenny Omega. Kind of still wearing his Terminator gear, it looks like. This was very, very early on in AEW, but it's wild how young he looks compared to now. That's crazy. This has been one of the greatest rivalries that we've seen in all of AEW. Moxley's on his way out. He didn't even have Wild Thing yet. Or did? No. No Wild Thing yet. No nothing. That's wild. Coming out of the crowd, though. He loves that shit. These two have made one hell of a feud since the beginning of AEW, the Ohio's own Jon Moxley, as Justin Roberts so eloquently loves saying it, with the extended O. And I don't know if I've watched this match since 2019. So if you recall, this was the lights out match. As Jon Moxley comes out to the ring, watch it with me on Bleacher Report Live. If you've already ordered it or find it on YouTube or something, go ahead. Or just listen to my dulcet tones while you work out, drive to work, while you work, whenever you need that pro wrestling itch. The Bruze Cruze Podcast, the only podcast that brings you pro wrestling for your ears, is always here for you, whether you're by a television or not. I decided to say the whole word instead of shortening it. That sounded weird. Follow us on Spotify, Bruzernation Podcast Network, and these two get started right away, firing rights and lefts. Moxley's back, Kenny Omega into the corner, elbow drops, Kenny Omega turns it around, follows with 5 or 6 vicious elbows, hard chop to the chest of Jon Moxley. Moxley counters the Irish whip. Kenny ducks under the clothesline, high boot to the face while he was running to Jon Moxley, firing back to Moxley in the corner, couple elbows, couple shots to the midsection, Irish whip from corner to corner. Kenny Omega charges in, Moxley hits him with a back elbow. Hard jab right to the jaw of Kenny Omega, chop right to Jon Moxley. That one crackled through the arena, goes for a clothesline, countered with a sidewalk slam. Jon Moxley feeling it, rubbing it through his shoulders, steps to the outside. This is a lights out match. Remember, goes to the camera. Oh yeah, unsanctioned. Some fucking garbage wrestling, Jon Moxley just said. Excalibur couldn't repeat it, but I can because this is a podcast. Trash can. He wasn't kidding when he said garbage wrestling. The lid as well coming in. Moxley's got the lid. Nails Kenny right in the top of the head with the trash can lid. And another time, for good measure, Jon Moxley in control of this matchup. At this point in time, got the trash can, looking for the Death Rider almost, but Omega forces him out through the middle ropes. Both men spilling out to the floor. Did not want to take that Death Rider to the trash can, hammering on the back right under the neck of Jon Moxley as Kenny Omega throws Jon Moxley over the barricade. Moxley is in the crowd. Kenny Omega backs up, charges towards Jon Moxley and leaps, and a missile drop kick over the barricade into the chest of Jon Moxley, falling on the concrete. There's a chair out there and nails Jon Moxley in the back with that chair that he so conveniently located. We got a replay here. That missile drop kick right to the chest of Kenny Omega. Hard chop to Jon Moxley. And that went to Jon Moxley in the chest of Moxley. I apologize. And nails Moxley with the beer can. The cameraman didn't get it. Moxley is lucky that thing was open. And hopefully that fan gets a replacement for the $12 beer. Irish whip out in the crowd, into the trash can. Trash can tossed onto Jon Moxley, trash and all. That thing has been used all night long, and you can see it. Kenny Omega climbs the steps into the crowd, climbs on a barricade, double stomp through the trash can onto Jon Moxley. They are outside in the crowd, on the concrete. Yeah, that's just a plastic trash can, but when you look at the dent in that trash can and the weight of Kenny Omega, here comes a replay coming down on Jon Moxley. No give on the concrete floor. Smashing Moxley's head right into that chair. Another beer has been doused on Jon Moxley, this time in the back. Omega tosses Jon Moxley back into the ringside area, poses for the crowd. This might be a mistake springboard, but to no avail. Tried to springboard off the barricade, took too long. Jon Moxley shoves him off back onto the concrete as Moxley looks to be trying to separate the barricade. He's like, I'm tired of jumping over these damn things, and tosses Kenny to the ringside area. Jon Moxley in the ringside area himself, stomping with conviction to get at Kenny Omega. Vertical snap suplex on the outside. The pad is this thick, Bruzernation. That hurts no matter who you are, where you are. It hurts in the ring. It hurts on the outside. Just because they know how to fall properly doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. As Jon Moxley throws Kenny Omega back into the ring, looking for more weapons to plunder and pillage the face and body of Jon Moxley with. Of Kenny Omega with cheese and rice. Barbed wire baseball bat by Jon Moxley. Right here, shows it to the camera. And that is a lot of the difference between the WWE veterans and a lot of the guys in AEW. I mean, and that's still to this point, it takes a while to get used to TV style. And he's, hard shot to the breadbasket of Jon Moxley, of Kenny Omega by Jon Moxley with the barbed wire baseball bat. Tried for a vicious double axe handle style throw, but Moxley able to fight back, and now he gets Kenny Omega in the back with the barbed wire back. And once again, in the back of Kenny Omega. Writhing in pain is Kenny Omega, and another shot with the barbed wire to the spine of Kenny, who slaps the mat in pain. Look at the punctures in the back of Kenny Omega. And we are just getting started. I don't even think they've been fighting for 10 minutes. You can't call it wrestling, as Jon Moxley fires back and again into the back of Jon Moxley. Look at those barbs on that barbed wire. They did not remove all of it. Kenny, oh my God, the barbed wire baseball bat is being stomped, driven into the spine of Kenny Omega. The pain in the face of the master of the one-winged angel tells the story. Holy shit, these two hold nothing back when they appear across the ring from each other. Jon Moxley has the barbed wire bat again, right into the face. Kenny's able to block it. Smartly grabbed the wrist and gouged the eye of Jon Moxley. The back bleeding of Kenny Omega as he fires with two chops. Irish whip to Jon Moxley, countered by Moxley. Goes for a clothesline with the barbed wire bat. Kenny Omega goes for the dragon suplex. Gets to, oh my God, the trash can to the face after Jon Moxley scraped the barbed wire bat on the bicep of Kenny Omega. Omega able to withstand that. He had to release the dragon suplex, but then throws the trash can right into Moxley, and the pull-up pile driver to the trash can by Kenny Omega onto Jon Moxley. And neither man has even bothered for a cover at this point. Now Kenny Omega grasping the barbed wire baseball bat, says, whatever you can do, I can do better, and he tosses it to the side. He's looking for something else. A barbed wire baseball bat isn't enough? The cleaner grabs the table. That's what we're doing as he leans it against the barricade. And very professionally make sure it stays in place by making sure the leg goes over the barricade. A barbed wire broom. It's got cords stuck on it and shit. The bungee cords on it. Pro wrestling. Kenny very well, I mean, he's showing the weapon too. He didn't show it to the, oh, shit. Through the trash can, over the ropes to Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega blasts Moxley in the face with the barbed wire broom. I mean, how often do you even get to say something like that? Only in pro wrestling can you say he got hit with a barbed wire broom. Lining up his shot is Kenny Omega right to the back of Moxley. Moxley is a bloody mess. He's only been hit with it twice as Kenny Omega is going to sweep the back with the barbed wire broom. Oh my God. Stomping it into the spine of Jon Moxley, the back of the head and neck area of Jon Moxley, and a double stomp to the barbed wire broom. Barbed wire broom. Where else than in pro wrestling do you get to say barbed wire broom as the blood drips from the back of Jon Moxley's head and neck as Kenny Omega grabs the barbed wire baseball bat, looking to inflict even more dastardly punishment on Jon Moxley as he chokes him on the middle rope. Yeah, he's asking for the crowd's approval as he drives the barbed wire bat into the forehead of Jon Moxley. Paul Turner is wondering if Jon Moxley is ready to give up or not. It does not seem to be that way. Irish whip from Kenny Omega. Drop toe hold right into the barbed wire broom. Face first goes Jon Moxley. Omega sprints. Oh, the over the head facebuster into the barbed wire broom. Looks like Kenny Omega did some damage to his own head. His fingers are bleeding. He's been punctured by barbed wire from the broom, from the bat. Cover 1, 2. Jon Moxley kicks out at 2. Paul Turner already has his gloves on. I just noticed he's probably had them on, since less than 5 minutes into this. Why is there a mouse snap trap down there? What's going on? What are we doing? It's not even properly placed. It's just kind of there. As Kenny Omega grabs a new trash can, places it over the corner. Well, I guess we're not going to be seeing that corner camera anymore. Kenny's going for the flipping Samoan drop, followed by, that's why he set it up. Moonsault with the trash can. On to Jon Moxley. 1, 2. Moxley kicks out at 2. More of Kenny's body connected with Moxley than the trash can, but it was still almost enough for 3. Omega drops to the mat. Nice replay there, but yeah, once again, it looks like that trash can may have done more damage to Kenny Omega than to Jon Moxley. Kenny Omega back under the ring. That's why. I forgot about this spot. That's why. That's why there was 1. Because you could only see the 1. Oh my God. And yeah, those are set. Those are set. That's awesome. Yeah, those are set. 100%. That's a little much Excalibur. That's like 25. No, there's probably is 50. He's probably right. As Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley in the center of the ring, firing back. Right hands, elbows. Moxley's taking control here. He is not trying to feel those mouse traps. Charges in, eats a chop. Kenny counters the clothesline. A vicious knee to the face of Jon Moxley. Kenny charges, eats a clothesline, upside down, inside out. Goes Kenny Omega. These two men are beating the living hell out of each other as Moxley is now bleeding from the forehead, aside from the back of the neck, which is probably better. Now Jon Moxley's positioning the mousetrap 4x4 or plywood. Oh! Release vertical suplex by Jon Moxley onto Kenny Omega, onto the board, holding all of the mouse traps, and damn it, that shit had to hurt. Oh, we get a replay here. Oh, shit, you hear him snapping and releasing. He's just lucky he didn't get caught in the fingertips, because that shit would have broke a finger. Jon Moxley back in control of this matchup. Now he's going out for more weapons. Like, what else? What else is under there? Had mouse traps, barbed wire, baseball bats, and Bruins trash cans, 2 of them. Oh, good. Now Jon Moxley has a crate with a chain in it. Cool. This will be great. And Jon Moxley is not playing around here, as he's got the golden chain ready to inflict more punishment onto Kenny Omega. That shit looks heavy, man. What are you doing, Jon? Oh, and he boots Kenny in the face. Hard jab to the jaw. Grasping the hair of Kenny Omega. Oh, looks like sidewalk slam. Oh, my God. Sidewalk slam onto the chain. Dear Lord. I don't care who you are. Look at the giant-ass hooks on that thing. Cover 1, 2. Look at the hooks. Legit chain. Jon Moxley is ridiculous. As I lost my breath during all that chaos, Kenny Omega kicked out of a cover attempt by Jon Moxley. Now Moxley looks to be going for a neck breaker onto that chain, and he hit. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Cover 1. And Kenny kicks out at 1. Oh, and the look on Jon Moxley says, okay, that's fine. I'm totally kick out at 1. It's cool. We could do this all day. As Kenny fires with a right hand, Jon Moxley's just standing there taking him, asking for more. Boot to the side of the face of Kenny by Jon Moxley. Grasping the chain once again and choking Kenny Omega. That might be the I was about to say that might be the nicest thing Jon's done, but as he has it wrapped around the jaw of Kenny Omega, Kenny grasping at it, trying to pull it away to no avail. There's no rope breaks. He's gonna have to find a way to get Moxley off of him as he drives the knee into the small of the back. Kenny is going to taste nothing but chain for the rest of the evening as he is pulled back in a camel clutch style hold with it. Oh, the side of the trash can hit Jon Moxley in the eye, but Moxley goes back cross-face across with both hands, vicious forearm cross faces. Going for looks like bulldog choke, body scissor, trash can lid by Kenny again. 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 shots to Jon Moxley by Kenny, able to force Jon Moxley to reach the bulldog choke. He still has body control. Now he's able to separate from Jon Moxley as Kenny Omega. Jon Moxley gets to his feet just before Kenny. Kenny is still a wobbly mess. Uranagi. Oh. By Jon Moxley onto Kenny Omega, and Kenny is lucky he landed next to the chain, not on the chain. That could have ended his night prematurely. And Moxley is still looking for something. He's got something else hidden down there. Oh, good. He found it. Oh, good. Did he find it? Oh, he did find it. Oh, it's a screwdriver. He still loves the screwdriver. I wouldn't call it an ice pick. It's like a pre-hole thing. Like you use it to just tap it with a hammer and it goes into the into the wall, make your nailing and screwing easier. Jon Moxley charges in, punctured a hole in the turnbuckle, dragon suplex attempt by Kenny. Jon Moxley's able to fight out of it. High backdrop by Jon Moxley to Kenny Omega onto the chain. Cheese and rice. These two are beating the living shit out of each other in this unsanctioned lights out match. And Moxley even looks kind of young compared to now. Going back to the chain. Now this time he is just going to choke Kenny Omega with it. Wraps it around twice. Kenny's able to get back to his feet, kind of release some of the pressure, but he still has the chain around his neck. Jon Moxley tries to throw Kenny over the ropes with it. Dragon suplex. Oh. The Snapdragon by Kenny Omega. Not onto the chain, but onto Jon Moxley, and he's going for the Snapdragon again. Oh. A vicious move that Jon Moxley has felt many, many times since this evening. Once again, we are rewatching Moxley Omega Full Gear 2019. Unsanctioned lights out as Kenny Omega is being bitten by Jon Moxley. Bounces off the ropes, charges, tries for a clothesline. Snapdragon, that's the third one in under 3 minutes by Kenny to Jon Moxley, who is completely out on his knees. Kenny Omega now has the golden chain that Jon Moxley introduced. And choking Moxley with it, going for a second wraparound. Links the chain. And tosses Moxley over the rope. And now he is hanging Jon Moxley with the gold chain over the ropes. More pressure pushing on that middle rope. Moxley is hanging, literally hanging on the apron. Paul Turner checking to see if Moxley's even conscious right now as Kenny Omega releases it. Kenny Omega, what else can he do to Jon Moxley? The chain still draped over the rope. Kenny Omega looks to be going for the Terminator suicide dive. He is taking way too long. Moxley is watching Kenny. Kenny bounces off the ropes, bounces off again, jumps over, and Jon Moxley driven through that table by Kenny Omega with the suicide plancha, the Terminator, if you will, through the table that was placed there by Kenny, 15 minutes ago. What an offensive display by Kenny Omega as we get some replays as well. Jon Moxley, no worse for wear, propped up by the table and nothing else. Cracked and splintered and broken is the table. Kenny Omega is exhausted, dropping to his knees, looking back under the ring for more weaponry. The crushed trash can's still there. What is he doing? What are we doing, Kenny? What are we looking for? Oh, he found it. He forgot where he put it, but he knows where it is now. Oh, maybe he knows where it is now. This is giving... there it is. Well, it's giving Jon Moxley some time to go ahead and recover a little bit, but Kenny wobbly on his feet, obviously exhausted, has a bag full of something. Is it thumbtacks? Is it Legos? Is it glass? You can never tell in professional wrestling those days and these days. Oh, yeah, glass. Sweet. That's sweet. Good stuff, guys. Way to just maim and deface each other. Oh, did he save the table that he took the Death Rider on it all out? Trying to just dig into Jon Moxley's forehead with that glass controls. And he's digging. Oh my God, he's cutting the middle of the fingers. The webbing of the fingers of Jon Moxley sliced by the glass. There are people in the crowd that were not ready for this. Hands over their faces. They were not ready. Oh my God, as he stomps on the bag of glass. Men, women, and children cannot believe the sight that they are seeing in this AEW ring as the glass is dumped all around into the middle of the ring. Make sure it gets it all out of there. But Jon Moxley back to his feet, watching Omega just play around, for lack of a better term. Irish whip, Kenny Omega counters, and what a spine buster. 1, 2. Oh, Moxley kicks out at 2, a spine buster into the pile of the glass. Kenny Omega got glass in the hands. Jon Moxley has glass all in his back and body. Oh my God. Grabs the legs of Jon Moxley and just drags the body of Moxley through the pile of broken glass. And it looks like a sharpshooter for good measure. Oh my God. Perfectly put on by Kenny Omega. Moxley's crawling. Literally crawling. Hands, elbows, forearms through the glass. Stomach, everything, gets to the ropes, but there's nothing the ref can do as Moxley's bleeding from the back again, uses the ropes to pull himself up and out of the sharpshooter. My God. Paul Turner's checking on Jon Moxley. He lost a glove. He's got to put on a new one. Counting pinfalls in the glass. The pain etched on the face of Jon Moxley as Kenny Omega is digging through the glass. Shows it to the camera. Look what we have here. Shards of glass in the palm of his hands. He's going to feed the glass to Jon Moxley. Moxley's fighting it, trying to keep his mouth closed, to no avail. He got his mouth open, dropping the glass into the mouth of Jon Moxley. Charges, bounces off the ropes, feet trigger, but he missed. German suplex to the glass. Jon Moxley, Mega took too much time, bounces off the ropes, feet trigger to the face of Jon Moxley. Omega bounces off the ropes once again, goes for it, and hits another V-trigger, but falls on the glass again. Jon Moxley drapes over the ropes, now rolls to the ramp. Jesus. Jon Moxley just trying to create some distance right now. He is in a bad way. Jon Moxley being pummeled by Kenny Omega, really, since he introduced that glass, really changed the whole complexion of this matchup. And now he's going for the pre-holer. It's not nice pick Excalibur that drives me crazy. Yeah, there we go. It's a type of they said implement of destruction. I'll take that. But I mean, it does. It helps you make holes before you try to hammer something in. Just makes your life easier. Jon Moxley is almost all the way up the ramp. Kenny Omega following behind. Paul Turner said, "The hell with the gloves." You can see the holes, or the as he just drives the screwdriver type device on the forehead of Jon Moxley. I don't remember the technical term, but it's like a screwdriver, but you hit it with a hammer to make a hole, to make your life easier. But it was actually driven into the forehead and scraped across the forehead of Jon Moxley. Kenny wants them to bring something out here. Kenny and the Adam Hangman Page and the Bucks are like, man, this is too much. What is he asking them to get? It's nice that the four of them are back together in 2023. I dig it. Fast forward to this just last week, 2023. The Elite is back together. This is so weird. What are they bringing out here? Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. The, triple king bed frame that is wrapped with barbed wire, for lack of a better term of what it is. Jon Moxley is in a bad way. Jeez. I mean, basically a bed frame with barbed wire, and barbed wire's also a mattress. One-winged angel onto that damn thing. The Bucks and Paige are like, no. And Mox counters. Moxley has Kenny Omega on his shoulder. Looks like he's going for a Death Valley driver. Kenny Omega able to fight off of it. Goes for the V-trigger. Jon Moxley blocks it. Oh, shit. Vertical superplex onto the bed of barbed wire. Both men taking their bodies and saying the damn hell with it. Superplex off the rampway onto the bed of barbed wire. And we get a replay as both men are just wrapped in the barbed wire. How the hell? Jesus. Jeez. And look, if you watch this replay again as they slow it down, how far that barbed wire gets drugged down from how it was kind of solid when they crashed. And as you can see with this close-up here, if you're watching along, they did not gig any of that barbed wire. Those barbs are still in it as crew and friends and everybody else is trying to just get them the hell out of the barbed wire. This was not a good decision. Like at all. It was like, damn it. Jesus Christ. Moxley is just completely tangled in that barbed wire. I think that probably was going to go better than they thought it would. Got production crew and everybody else crawling on the ground trying to help Moxley get out. They are a goddamn mess. Moxley's back to his feet. Kenny Omega can't even get up. Moxley just punched a guy. It shoved another guy. Oh, goes for, looks like a reverse T-bone suplex into the Full Gear sign, or Kenny Omega's trying to fight off, is able to break the grip. Hits it, with the light truss. Oh, no, it's HVAC piping or something. Kenny Omega against the barricade near the people, charges at Jon Moxley. V-trigger through the staging. From Kenny Omega to Jon Moxley, they have destroyed the ring, destroyed the ringside area, destroyed a bed of barbed wire, and now they're destroying the staging as the stagehand that got the jab from Jon Moxley gets to his feet finally. Paul Turner's like, this is ridiculous. What is on his head? Stuck to some type of paper or something as we get a replay of the V-trigger through the staging. Jesus Christ. Boom. Jeez. Destroyed. Just destroy everything. It's fine. Jon Moxley's able to get out of the stage, and Kenny Omega's smile on his face as Kenny Omega sits up, pulls himself out of the staging, as these two men have literally beaten the shit out of each other for like 35 minutes. Kenny Omega stalking Jon Moxley, shot to the spine of Jon Moxley by Kenny Omega. Another one forcing Moxley down through the crowd back towards the ringside area as they are able to walk through the barricade. Oh, that was a hard forearm to the spine of Moxley by Kenny Omega. Now he's grabbing pieces of table. Goes back into the ring for Jon Moxley. Counters with, the Death Rider onto the glass. 1, 2. Kenny Omega kicks out at 2 3/4. Moxley's like, I ain't doing that. He kicks the mousetrap board out of the ring. Now he's looking for more things to damage Kenny Omega with. He just takes the apron off. He's got a box cutter. Good. We're just going to take the ring apart now. Look, we'll just make the work easier for the ring crew later. On 2 different sides. This is not a good decision by Jon Moxley. This never turns out well for anybody when they start exposing the ring. Oh, God. I think he may have removed enough of it. Kenny Omega is literally completely out. This is taking a little long, and he's just getting started. Jon Moxley, now that the ring canvas has now been pulled back, well, at least they won't go into the glass anymore. And now the Athletic Commission deemed necessary, mattress pad that is on the ring. And now you see the 2x4s. Oh, my goodness gracious. As Jon Moxley continues to destroy the ring even more. I totally forgot they did this. I didn't mean to say they destroyed the ring earlier, kind of before they really did destroy the ring. Foam, canvas, glass, trash cans, mouse traps, barbed wire. Shit is everywhere. We get to see the inner workings of a pro wrestling ring this evening. Jon Moxley goes Kenny Omega up for the pile driver, and oh my God, that's even louder with all the padding removed, countering the Gotch pile driver with a backdrop as Kenny Omega. Looks like Kenny's eye got messed up, probably by the Full Gear signage. V-trigger to the back of the head, neck area of Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley set up for the one-winged angel, counters it, Death Rider attempt, Kenny counters that, kicks under Death Rider of his own, oh my God. Cover 1, 2, Jon Moxley kicks out at 2, Kenny Omega, not the expert, if you will, of the Death Rider, not able to deliver it as viciously and devastatingly as Jon Moxley is normally able to. Scores himself a 2.5, maybe 2 3/4, but Jon Moxley still fighting. Kenny Omega back to his knees. Moxley laying prone on the wood in the ring. It's not even a ring anymore. It's a partial ring. Kenny Omega looks to be climbing to the ropes. He's got to position Jon just right for this one. Climbs to the middle. Now ascends to the top. Taking his time, trying to make sure his positioning is just right. Don't want to eat it on this one. Goes for the Phoenix Splash, and Jon Moxley moves out of the way. It's Kenny Omega crashes face and body first into the exposed wood of the ring. He's going to be feeling that for months. Moxley with the cover 2, and Kenny Omega kicks out at 2. Jon Moxley back to his feet. This is exhausting to call. Can't even begin to imagine how these two feel right now. Death Rider, Jon Moxley delivers the Death Rider to Kenny Omega on the exposed wood. 1, 2, 3. Jon Moxley, in an absolute brutally vicious affair, has defeated Kenny Omega. Full Gear 2019. I have not watched this match in years, and oh my God, Bruzernation, I'm kind of glad I haven't, because dear Lord, did they beat the living shit out of each other, and I cannot wait to continue the Jon Moxley Kenny Omega experience right here on the Bruze Cruze Podcast, the only podcast that brings you pro wrestling for your ears. That is it for us, ladies and gentlemen. What a barbaric matchup between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. As a reminder, follow us, rate, subscribe on Spotify or wherever you get your favorite podcasting apps. You get to watch. If you subscribe on Spotify, one, you'll never miss an episode of the Bruzernation Podcast Network, which includes Bruze Cruze Macabro, To the Turnbuckle, and Bruze Cruze Podcast, the only podcast to bring you pro wrestling for your ears. If you watch it, or you can watch and listen on Spotify, because it is the official home of the video to Bruzernation Podcast Network. Eventually the videos do get to YouTube, but if you want to watch it as quickly as possible, make sure you subscribe, rate, and follow to the Bruzernation Podcast Network right on Spotify. Thank you so much for listening. Bruzernation coming at you from McCarthy Manor. You have just listened to the Bruze Cruze Podcast, part of the Bruzernation Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Bruzernation members of all ages, does everybody know what time it is?
It's Bruze Cruze time!
His friend Triple H.
What'd you say?
His friend Triple H.
So you can talk about the new era, but it doesn't matter to me because I know what you really want. And I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you what you crave right now. Tonight, I give you the gift of Jericho. Drink it in, man.
Oh, hey there, Bruzer Nation. Do you ever wonder how you, yes, you, can start your podcast? Well then, do I have the perfect place to start? My go-to for podcast hosting, and that's Anchor by Spotify. The absolute easiest way to make a podcast. No, I'm not being facetious. With Anchor by Spotify, everything you need to start your podcast is all in one place. No recording equipment, no worries. With Anchor, you can record right to your phone or computer. No editing software? Well, Anchor.fm has that right there for you as well. Just as important as your voice, Anchor by Spotify distributes your podcast to all the major podcasting platforms, so hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of listeners can hear your voice and story. Plus, Anchor is the exclusive place to post videos of your podcasts on Spotify. I almost forgot. Anchor by Spotify helps creators like you earn money through not just advertisements, but by subscription services for your most loyal of listeners. Now you're wondering, how much is all this going to cost me? That right there, Bruzernation, is the good news. It's free. That's right, zip, zilch, nada. So go ahead and visit anchor.fm to get started. After you've listened to this podcast, of course. That's anchor.fm to start your podcast today.